Hello and good afternoon. My name is Dr. Michael DiTolla. I am the clinical director for Sirona, and I'd like to welcome you to the Sirona Media Panel, coming to you live from the 2016 Chicago Midwinter meeting. We have a special guest with us today, Paul Azoulay from Dentoscope, the largest French dental publication. 30,000 dentists get it. It's not the largest. What, were you going to say it wasn't the largest?
It's the largest.
It is the largest. Yes. You just didn't want to brag.
Yes. We have competitors, but I think it's the largest.
It's the one that everybody thinks of when they think of a French.
We try to do it.
Dental publication.
Okay.
And we're here today because we're celebrating a new material that we have, a solid zirconia crown that can be made chairside, and that's pretty much unbreakable. I would ask you to try to break it, but I know you can't.
No, I know I can.
And you can even try chewing it if you want. You can drive over it with your car. You can do anything you want. It's very difficult to break, and so it gives us the opportunity to give our patients a very high strength, all ceramic crown, so it doesn't look like gold or doesn't look like metal. Very strong, and we can give it to them in one appointment in about an hour and a half. And so we have two of our favorite dentists sitting next to you, two of our beta testers for this material. Todd is on your left, and to his left is Mike. And Mike, I believe you told me that you were able to fabricate one of these crowns in about the same amount of time, in about 90 minutes from start to finish?
Yeah, give or take. It's about the same amount of time that it would take me to do a procedure with any other glass ceramic. I did one yesterday. My fastest time was 1 hour and 11 minutes, just because I thought I was going to miss my flight. Turns out I had an extra 8 hours I could have spent at the airport. But no, so it's about the same amount of time that any other procedure that I would do.
So it's faster than before?
Oh yes, it's
much faster.
Much faster.
Yeah. Well, it's faster in the way the whole industry makes zirconia, because we'd never have the opportunity to do it chairside. And now that even if it took 3 hours, it's still faster. But Sirona's dry milling, their new speed fire oven, makes it within 30 minutes, for milling time and sintering time.
The industry kind of standard of sintering is still upwards of 8 hours, is it not?
Yeah, in a laboratory, it still takes 8 hours.
This is about 13 to 15 minutes.
Yeah, but most of the time in a laboratory, they're doing 15 to 20 crowns at a time. That can't be done with this. This is for one unit or maybe 3. But please go ahead and ask any questions you might have.
In France, it's not zirconia is not really a fancy material. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
And tell me your arguments, please, to convince my French colleagues.
Well, to kind of like what we said in the last panel is, I would say that the two most important things are you have now a material that can satisfy clinical situations that you couldn't before. Mainly second molars, very, very thin interocclusal distance, where you have a interocclusal distance of less than 1.5 or even less than 1 millimeter. Now we have a material that can do that. So that would be one issue, one thing that I would present as a reason. The other is the very precise nature of the milling. You're going to find better.
That's what I see. The limits are very thin and very strong.
Very detailed anatomy, very detailed, precise margins, very, very good fit. And also the fact that you don't have to really worry about the bonding stage, that you can just cement these conventionally is a huge step.
It's a huge argument.
So if you look at that crown right now that you're holding, if you look at the margins on that. I mean,
it's what I said.
We're into knife edge type margins, and so it doesn't matter if you're a dentist in the United States or in France. We don't want to have to cut a lot of tooth structure down. We want to be as conservative as possible. And don't tell me that's not conservative.
No, it is conservative.
Yeah, very much.
It's even more apparent.
So it's an argument for my colleagues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
One other thing is that, we don't want our patients to break our restorations. It does not matter, because whenever they come in with a broken restoration, it's never good in the office. And this is going to keep that from happening.
The other big problem with zirconia was is hardness, and it's the difficulty to make some adjustments. So what is your feeling about that?
Creating a software that doesn't that you do not need to make adjustments.
No, I understand.
No, but there's some truth to that, and Todd and I have been communicating over the months, and just saying that we are amazed at the fact that we literally hardly ever have to adjust the crown.
Go ahead.
No, I just say, and I think that goes back to the different way that it's milled. It's milled bigger, as Mike has that pre-centered crown there at 22% bigger. it allows it to be a little bit more precise.
And you have never a problem with contact points?
Never, but minor.
And if you have one,
far fewer
how
than
do
any
you
other
manage it? How do you correct it?
Well, you want to use a very light diamond.
Yes.
There are burrs that are specifically
When it is
made.
in excess, I understand. But if there is a default,
deficiency?
yes.
Oh, I have actually not run across
That's
that yet.
never happened.
I
That
guess
never
in
happened,
that case, you'd probably have to remill.
Yeah,
in
It's
that
always
case, yeah.
larger, but
Well,
That's
what
one scenario
happens
that
is when you take it completely digital from the imaging to the software to the milling, the firing, the chances of having deficiencies or too high get lower and lower and lower. But the doctors that are doing zirconia sending to the lab, they take an impression. Now they're adding variables into the equation.
and if I have some adjustment with before centerizing, is it possible?
Possibly, but I wouldn't adjust it in its precinct. You wouldn't want to adjust it in that stage.
I think besides
You don't
removing
need
this,
It's pretty fragile in that
It's fragile
state.
right there.
That you can break if you try.
Okay.
very,
But
very
you
fragile.
can see now you really, because it's 22% bigger here.
Yeah.
If you flip it over, you can see exactly how fine those margins are. It's a little easier to see than when the crown is smaller.
Yes,
And that's another thing is that when it's so big, if you look at the occlusal, you can see there's a lot of detail because there's a little burr that can go in and do a lot of that finishing on a crown that's actually bigger. So by the time it shrinks at 22%, you have a lot
I
of
am
detail.
really impressed by
That part's
very
nice.
detailed.
Yeah,
Yes,
that part's nice. The
great.
translucency,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
still has a way to go
It's
before
not
it looks
a big
good.
problem because it's posteriors.
Right.
And posteriors, it's not a big problem for me, and for the patients, especially no.
Right.
Right.
And is it possible to make more than one unit?
Up to a 3-unit bridge.
Yeah.
3-unit bridge?
Yes, he has one right there. Yep.
Okay.
I did a 3-unit bridge just a couple weeks ago, and it took about.
Yet the time is it's a longer little.
Yeah, well, it takes a little bit longer to mill just because it's a longer
yeah.
piece, but the sintering took 22 minutes.
Okay.
So when I put it in the oven and hit start, it was 22 minutes.
You had
I mean,
about
that's ridiculous.
About a 2-hour.
That's crazy.
We had about a 2-hour chair time for that, right?
Yeah, it was
2
2-hour. Let's say it took 2-hour chair time to do a 3-unit bridge. I mean, that's unheard of in dentistry ever. And there was no adjustment to it. We used 10 micron troll foil to actually check the occlusion, and it was every dot was exactly the way it was in the software.
And even if I want to characterize or to put some things black or blue, I may do it.
Yes.
Sure.
And I have to go back to the oven.
Yes.
Yes,
For a second part.
Yeah, but it's only about an 8 or 9 minute second cycle. It's
very
fairly
fast.
quick. Fairly
So
quick.
it's fast.
Yes.
It's fast.
It's probably just a couple minutes longer than it would take to polish it.
The other thing that people are not talking about too that is the fact that zirconia is notoriously a very inexpensive material to manufacture. So the price point, and I don't know what it is in Europe, but in the U.S. the price point is far less expensive.
We have the same
for a
the
bridge
same
block.
price.
I think it's probably 70% less expensive than a glass ceramic bridge block, which is nice because it saves everybody money.
And you are earning also time when you fix it.
Yeah.
At the end with the cement, it's quicker.
It's easier. You just
What kind of cement are you using to?
I use resin modified glass ionomer.
Okay,
I
glass
use the
ionomer,
same.
Fuji or
Fuji Plus.
Fuji Plus,
Okay.
same thing that I use, exactly, yeah.
And you have good result with.
Oh, it's spectacular.
Yeah. Okay.
It's spectacular.
So I have no more.
Well, that's
questions.
it. The French
Yes.
dentists are going to start using it tomorrow.
We try.
You are going to be the one, Paul, through the
Thank you.
pages of Dentoscope to get the French dentists to come around and start doing this.
I shall try in my journal.
French dentists and American dentists have some things in common. We would both rather cement than bond something into place. We would both rather prep less tooth structure away to make the crown. And we would both like to be able to give the patient a permanent restoration on the same day if we could. So, you know,
I think the most important thing is to be conservative with the tissue.
Right.
So it will be a nice thing, I am sure.
there's an old saying that the best dentistry is no dentistry.
Yes.
and so the second best is very
For
conservative
my teeth,
dentistry.
yes.
For your teeth, exactly. Yeah. For everybody else, it
Thank
doesn't
you,
matter. But for
thank
yours,
you so much. It was
Thank you,
nice.
Paul. We
Thank you,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
And thank you all for watching our media panel. Thank you for your time, and we appreciate your continued commitment to quality dentistry.